You're watching Fox Chicago Perspective with Walter Jacobson.
Young Americans under the age of 30 may well determine the outcome of this presidential election. They have enough votes to do it. Question is, will they cast those votes? And if so, for whom? As we saw this past week, there were many people, young people, at the Republican convention. Here now, Dennis Cook, the president of the suburban Cook County Young Republicans. Christopher Anderson, vice president of the Young Democrats of Illinois. Well, why, gentlemen, has it been so difficult getting people your age to be interested enough to vote? Don't care?
It's not so much they don't care, I believe. I believe there's an apathy. I believe everything is a gray hair issue, Social Security, Medicare. But now in this election, when you actually have a real war that's being fought by young people, I think this is going to be the election where you see youth turn out in magnitude proportions. When it's our brothers and sisters and younger brothers and sisters coming home in the body bags, I think that's going to generate people to go to the polls.
Are you saying that's a hope, or are you finding when you're out on the street?
Definitely when I'm out on the street. I mean, so many people, 32, 25, never voted before. Where do I go to register? Hey, you're with the Young Democrats. Can you tell me how to get involved? And I'm seeing that every day closer to the election. I think it's going to get better and better. So I'm looking forward to it.
My guess would be that most of those, at least to whom he is speaking, are Democrats, and they are carry people who are opposed to the war. Does that make your job very difficult?
Surprisingly, our job hasn't been that difficult in recruiting youth into our organization. Every day I've been receiving new inquiries about joining the organization, getting involved. With the Republicans and the Young Republicans, we're taking a proactive stance on getting youth involved in government. I personally have been going around the high schools and speaking to students on the importance and involvement in government, whether you're Republican or Democrat. And they're listening. You know, the issues that are important to them, and it give them the opportunity and to come on out and see what it's like to be a part of a campaign.
Well, are you able to convince these young Republicans that the war was justified and that the war now is being, or the peace now is being won? That's your main problem.
That is, I stand strong when I do go to the independent groups of Republican and Democrats, and I say that this is important. This war against terrorism is something that needs to be fought, and this president is good for what this country needs. If this war isn't going to be won tomorrow, it's going to be long, it's going to be tough, and this president is the president, I believe, that is going to secure our future.
It's not going to be a war that's fought over 4 years, like he said before. However, over the course of time, over the next 20 or 30 years, what's going to be done for us to change cultural attitudes so people understand us better? Who's going to invest in foreign aid and foreign policy best to make this country better for me to go overseas and not be spat upon or smeared because I'm American? I think that young people are looking at that and saying, hey, instead of bullying somebody and looking for a boogeyman that does not exist, let's go out there and try to change our attitudes with the world and make people see us not be unilateralists. And that's why people are getting involved.
If I were 28 years old, I'd listen to that.
Who's the boogeyman? Why you go about these tactics about saying that Republicans are evil? We are not evil. Far from it. You have the far right and you have the far left, correct? And
correct.
Both sides are extremists. And then you have the moderates. There are a lot of moderates, especially here in Illinois, that reach out to both sides. And I think, like Senator McCain, his speech, he does reach across party lines, and we do have the ability to reach out to both sides, African Americans, minorities alike. I don't understand where you're going.
Well, the boogeyman is the terrorist that's not found in Iraq, the weapons of mass destruction that we never found, and the weapons of mass distraction by putting on things such as high terror alerts and saying that we might have to postpone the election and things of that nature. I think the boogeyman is the terrorist that we do not see. The terrorists that we should be searching out for are the ones in Afghanistan.
Saddam Hussein was a boogeyman, wasn't he?
I don't believe Saddam Hussein was.
You don't believe so?
I don't believe he was.
Saddam Hussein, how many millions of people were tortured throughout his regime?
Oh, true.
We have
very true.
The Taliban and Saddam Hussein has been defeated. 50 million people now are taking part of the democracy.
But tell us why we're going to war. Don't tell us we're going to search for weapons of mass destruction and then we're going to search for liberation and liberate people. If that's the case, then we should be freeing people of Sudan, we should be freeing the people of Haiti, we should be over in other countries helping out. We cannot play policemen where there's no geopolitical interest available.
If we are playing policemen, we are not playing the world's policemen. We are not playing the world's policeman.
Well, tell me why we're not in the Sudan. Tell me why we're not in other places. Geopolitical interest, in my eyes, is seen, quote unquote, as oil, and it's also seen as
It's not
money
about
interest.
oil. If it was about oil, the prices would be lower already, and you know that. The gas prices would be lower, and it's not about oil. The excuse, it's about oil, it's about oil. Frankly, it's getting old.
Okay, well, I would like to see America involved in other aspects of the world where there's no money interest, no geopolitical interest. I don't want to turn on the TV at night and see people being slaughtered in the Sudan. We have friendly relations with Saudi Arabia, which is one of the worst oppressive regimes in the whole world, and tell us why we're so friendly with them.
You want to think about that? And before this election actually happens, you'll come back and see how you stand a month or month and a half from now. Very interesting to listen to you both. Thanks for being here, Chris
Thank you,
and Dennis. Now we go to Chris Wallace and what's next on Fox News Sunday.